Welcome to Showdown. I'm Mark Kaysen, and yes, I'm late. But in this case, there is a perfectly good excuse for it, and I can tell you the good news is that I am safe because I was on my way to the studio about 3:45, and there were marauding gangs of immigrants all over the streets, everywhere. I didn't even know what to do. I tried to escape, and they caught me. And we discussed the situation. They held on to me for about an hour and a half. And I don't know what even possessed them to let me go, but they seemed to decide that I'd be okay, and they let me go. And so I came straight to the studio, and here I am, just an hour and 40 minutes late, but at least I have my life, because believe me, there are people all over the United States who are being attacked daily by these marauding gangs. And, you know, they stab you, they cut your throat. If I'd have told them I was on the way to get a loaf of bread, they'd have cut my throat for sure. But it all worked out fine. And of course, the real truth is that I voted this afternoon in St. Louis County. And there was a line. Well, of course, because the place was filled with black women, all voting against Donald, all there to support Kamala. And then beyond that, you know, there were some white women as well to vote against Donald. And I think there were a couple of old white men that somebody went and tapped them on the shoulder, and they said, Donald. And they said, yeah, just go in there and fill it out. So, yeah, I'd say about 99% for Kamala, and probably a 0.5% for Donald, and then another 0.5% for Jill Stein. By the way, what in the heck is Jill Stein's name doing on that ballot? That is so stupid. I'll bet you that Jill Stein barely gets 1% this time. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about her. But I do have to ask the question, and that is, why? Why would she even want to take the chance? Why would she want to mess with this? Well, I don't know. She was probably beat up by some marauding gangs of immigrants, and she just was so beat senseless that she just put her name on there and didn't worry about it. But how dumb can you be? Why would you take a chance? It's pretty ridiculous. But anyway, Jill Stein's name was on there. A couple of horrible Supreme Court justices, and I'm talking about Missouri Supreme Court, well, judges in Missouri, and both women, and I hope people are voting against them because they're terrible. Horrible people. I don't know what their problem is. Although they can't beat Trump. I mean, you know, nothing is Trump. Nothing. You could have all the horrible Republicans that want to do anything. but it's not Trump. Trump is the worst. But here's one for you. If you can avoid the marauding gangs, you know, the enemy from within, if you can avoid them, you might make it to a TV where you could watch, and they'll talk about the numbers, the new poll numbers from NORCAP. Well, AP is, you know, the news group, and NORC is the University of Chicago. And together they did a poll, and they've been doing polls, so this is an ongoing thing. And what they find out? Wow, have the numbers moved dramatically away from Donald in favor of Kamala? Just dramatically. And I'll give you some examples. For example, Kamala is +5 in favorability. +5. I think it was 41-36 or 46-4. Maybe it was 46-41, something like that. Anyway, that's favorable versus unfavorable. So she's above water, +5. Trump, on the other hand, is 40% favorable. Listen to this now. 40% favorable, 58% unfavorable, -18. This is a brand new poll today. Now, I mean, it could be off by 1 or 2, but it isn't off by 18. Donald is -18, and Kamala is +5. You tell me where this goes in the next 5 days, because believe me, I know where it's going, and I've said all along. I know I walked into Vic here in the studio as I was coming in. He was, you know, joking. What am I going to do when Trump wins? Yeah. Okay. He said if. I'll give him if. But guess what? Here's the problem. There is no if. 40-58 underwater. People hate this man. Republicans hate this man. He is in serious trouble. I mean, the only thing he can hope for is that the marauding gangs decide to be on his side and help him, because believe me, when Judge Merchan gets his hands on Trump 2 weeks after the election, I wouldn't want to be Donald. I would not want to be him. Just incredible what's happening. Here's one for you. I mean, I haven't even read it, but I'm going to read it for you. Judge who tossed Trump's classified documents case is on the list of proposed candidates for Attorney General. Huh! What a surprise! But I hope she likes being on the list, because it's about as far as she's going to get. Because Donald is going to be in jail. And she better hope that he wins, because this is going to be the last job she's ever got. The 11th District is going to toss her so fast. Listen to the story. A proposed personnel roster circulating within Donald Trump's campaign and transition operation lists Aileen Cannon, the federal judge who threw out Trump's classified documents case as a possible candidate for attorney general. And this came from multiple sources who told ABC News about this. Cannon's name appears on a document reviewed by ABC News titled Transition Planning, Legal Principles. Incredible. Of course, there is one problem. I'll assume that I won't even get into it. They don't even know how to spell. The document was drafted by Trump's top advisors with input from Boris Epstein. Well, that's good. Who oversees Trump's legal team. That's another one of his attorneys who's going to jail. Unbelievable. There's no end to the mess that this guy has created. And the best part is, I know, thinking back to when he got into office in the first place, and everybody thought he was going to do all these things to the United States, and all he did is he did the Humpty Dumpty thing, knocked all the things off the wall. Everything was wrecked. But guess what? In this case, didn't have to worry about all the king's horses and all the king's men putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, because Joe Biden did it. 82 years old. And he was able to reverse every inch of the mess that Donald Trump left on this country. Turned it all around. Stroke of a pen. Negotiated NATO. Brought in Finland and Sweden. Nah, Donald can't do a thing right. Never has. Always ends up in the same place. Because everything he touches dies, as we know from the book that goes by that name. But anyway, I did vote today out in St. Louis County. Today was the first day that you could vote. And thanks to my very good friend Joe, who put up with me being late, and I really appreciate it tremendously. It's a huge inconvenience. It really is. But I truly appreciate it. And here I am, able to, give some input directly from the voting booth. And I can tell you this. You don't have to worry about St. Louis County. If it were St. Louis County voting on this, Missouri's 10 electoral votes would go straight to Kamala Harris. Now, I can't tell you. Well, no, I can tell you. I know. Outstate, I know what's going to happen. They're crazy. They're going to vote for Donald, sadly enough. But I wonder what else. For example, I do wonder about Ray Hartman. I think that Ray Hartman might actually be the next congressman from the 2nd District. I think that is a very strong possibility. No, I mean, I didn't talk to people out there at the voting thing. That wouldn't be appropriate, and I didn't. But I can just tell you that just the people who were there. First of all, when they talk about black votes, they say that the black vote, the black men are going to vote against Kamala. Well, I'm not so sure I believe that, but I still think that you're going to find 5 to 10% of the vote in favor of Donald from the black community. And if they're all men, then they're all men. And then it'll all be women who do the other side. And then it'll be the same difference that we see in every single election where black voters are gigantically on the side of the Democrats. Now, at the same time, white women voting for amendment number 3 probably will vote all Democrats, and they'll probably vote for Kamala as well. Now, I'm not saying something stupid like Donald would say. You know, Donald's out here saying he's going to win California. Well, he's not. But at the same time, Kamala is not going to win Missouri. That's obvious. No, that's not going to happen. But Ray Hartman is, maybe 3 to 4 points behind Ann Wagner, which is really a good place to start this election if the people who we think are going to show up do show up, and especially if it turns out that a lot of Republicans are sort of bored by this in Missouri anyway and just decide not to show up that much. I mean, it's still not going to matter. I mean, Donald's going to win in Missouri, but if the vote is diminished enough in St. Louis County, Ray could be the congressman. So, we'll see. Let's see. Greg says, sorry, that's not the case. The rest of Missouri is Republican. No, I agree with that, Greg. That's true. The rest of Missouri is Republican. But possibly not St. Louis County. That may be enough to push Ray into the House of Representatives. I mean, I hope it's true. I don't know that it would be. It's going to be a tight race. There's no question. If Ann Wagner wins by 2, 3, 4 points, I think that's probably what would happen under normal circumstances. But the other side is that given the amendment number 3, there's going to be a turnout for that's going to be enormous. And also, there's a black and young vote that will end up strongly on the Democratic Party side. And all of that might be enough to get Ray through this. Now, it's 2 weeks away, and I hate the 2 weeks. It's too long to wait for sure. 2 more weeks. That's very difficult, especially after having cast my vote this afternoon. I really did enjoy that vote. I really did. I voted the very first time in my life for George McGovern. And sadly enough, George McGovern in 1972 was completely trounced by Richard Nixon. And I say sadly enough because, McGovern said, and everybody knew, that Richard Nixon was a crook. Everybody knew it. But it took 2 years to prove it. And by that time, of course, the election was over, Nixon was in, and, George McGovern went into oblivion. That was the end of him. Sadly, because he would have been a very good president for sure, a very honest one, no doubt about that. But anyway, that was my first election, and I knew that I was voting for a losing case, but I did it, and I appreciated the opportunity to do it. I liked doing it. I didn't care that there was going to be a loss. It didn't matter at all. It was well worth voting against Richard Nixon. And we did get rid of them. Yeah. Greg says that Wagner hasn't done anything. And that's true enough. But you know what? Most people in Congress don't do too much. They really don't. They don't stand out. How many AOCs are there? I mean, AOC does a lot. AOC has an impact. And I will not be surprised. 2032, she could run for president after Kamala is in there for 8 years. And then she'll be, what, 35, I think? Or no, maybe 38, 39. But anyway, she'll be up there. She'll be ready. And I have to say, I remember her speech at this last convention. And it was a powerfully good speech. AOC is an amazing congressperson. Now, you know, at 73, you're funny, Pat Paulson. You're funny, Greg. Very funny. But anyway, I'm surprised you remember Pat Paulson. As you're not that old. But anyway, I will say that you know, Ray might. I mean, if you know, we could sit here and dream. If he were to get elected, I think he could probably serve 8 years anyway. That'd be a good thing. But anyway, I have to say that Ray's got a chance. He's got name recognition, which is why he's within 4 points on those polls anyway, because all these other people in Missouri are down by 10. I believe that Lucas Kuntz is down by 10. And, you know, I voted for him. I did. You know, he's a good enough guy. He said some things about Trump that were worthy of being said. But, you know, he's in Missouri. That's not going anywhere. Probably. I would love to see. And look, it is possible that what could happen here is that there could be a giant surge in voting for Kamala right at the end. And everybody could be talking about this election sort of like they talked about Harry Truman. You know, the famous Truman newspaper that says Dewey won, and he's holding it up in front of the camera. I mean, that is possible here. Donald's not going to win, but it could be a blowout election. Now, that one is not something I'm predicting. I'm just saying it could be. And the reason I say it could be, well, the poll that I just read today, I think that's a big part of it. Harris +5 and Donald minus 18. And it's getting worse. He is falling fast in this favorable, unfavorable race, which is a good indication of where the votes will be. That's for sure. And also there was another point, and this is really interesting. Yeah, 58 unfavorable, Greg. That's right. 40 to 58. And that's bad, especially since Kamala's +5. But anyway, let's see. She barely lifted her head to support the RECA bill. Yeah, look, Ann hasn't done much. But I will say she is a Republican, and that's a tough thing to beat in Missouri. That's not easy. Now, there have been Democrats who have won in the 2nd Congressional District. And the funny thing is that the one that I think of, Joan Kelly Horn, that's her name. And the reason I couldn't think of her name is because for years, Jim Berger and I have called her the Queen of Sleaze, which is really silly because she was on the air. It's a long story. I'm not going to tell it, but it goes all the way back 30 years. And she was on the air with us, and Berger was saying crazy things. Anyway, it's not worth it. She won, and that was good. And she beat Jack Buechner. She beat Jack Buechner, who was a pretty popular Republican. So this can be done. It really can. Votes still being counted Wednesday evening after the election. You know, Greg, they're going to be counting these votes. Oh, you're 58. That's funny. Okay, I got you. Greg is saying he's 58. Okay, well, that also happens to be Donald's negative favorability number nationally, 58. So, you're both sort of converging. Yeah, you're a baby, 58. That's ridiculous. Come on. Anyway, listen, you're young enough that you could be out here, you could help protect me from the marauding gangs of immigrants. And that is so sad that Donald is talking that way. But here's the thing. It's a combination of things that's going on here. First of all, Vance says that I'll get back to that in a second, Greg. But anyway, Vance says that's what Trump is really out to stop, is the marauding gangs of immigrants when he talks about the enemy from within. Although, that Donald, when he's confronted with this, says, no, I'm talking about Adam Schiff and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and all these horrible Democrats. That's who he's talking about when he wants the military to come and arrest the enemy from within. And this is a perfect example of the Hitler point. This is Hitler's language. And in fact, the Hitler language goes all the way back to enemy of the people, which of course was both Hitler and the Soviets. So, I mean, they both used this language. So you can use it from either direction. But the fact is, Donald is a bad and dangerous person. And the only reason why I don't even care is because he's not going to get within an inch of anything in this country ever again, as far as any kind of an elected office. Could he get elected to Congress down at Mar-a-Lago? That's possible. And if he had any sense, that's what he would do. That's what he would do. But he has no sense. He just is enamored with this idea of being president. And that's another point. Think back. Remember what people said back in 2016, that if that election had been run 100 times, 99 times, Donald would have lost. But it was just the one time that he actually won. They all say that, and that's probably true. And that's why Donald should realize that he's not going to get another 1 in 100 opportunity. I have to laugh. I spoke on the way here. I was on the phone talking to my brother. Both of my brothers like to remind me every day that Donald could win. They don't want him to win. They want to stay here. I know one of my brothers, I think, wants to go somewhere far away if Donald wins. But Donald's not going to win. It's just not going to happen. They love to say Donald has superpowers, and they love to say that Donald can do anything and get away with it. And the point of that is, can he get away with it? Can he get away with something? I mean, if you've got to get away with it, that's a problem in itself. 64 Trump, 35 Harris. Oh, you're talking about that betting market. Okay, I'll speak to that. I can do that. You know what's going on there, don't you, Greg? Donald's got friends who are placing big bets on him in that market, which is skewing the numbers. And that's why you've got that. It's very easy to do. This is a simple thing to do. That market is not that deep. That market can be controlled. And there are a whole lot of media outlets talking about it. So, yeah, I wouldn't get too excited about what Donald's going to do based on the betting market, because I can tell you right now, that betting market is more likely to be 64-35 in favor of Kamala, as what they're suggesting. So I think they can forget that possibility. Donald is a very troubled person who is going to find himself on his way to jail and on his way to courtrooms across the country, because, there are lawsuits out here all over the place. We know of 4 major lawsuits, but there are others. And Donald's going to have to face the music on all of them. Donald thinks that he can stop all of this because he'll be president of the United States and wave a wand and say, cases, go away. But they won't. And he won't be able to wave a wand, and he won't be in any office. Well, maybe in the warden's office as they prepare to put him into the trailer that Jim Comey wants to set up outside Rikers. So, yeah, he could be in the warden's office, but that's the only office that Donald is going to see in all of this. Trump minus 18, Harris plus 5. This is not an accident, you all. These are numbers that represent how people think. And listen, they've also begun to shift on the economy issue, because Kamala is only down now by a couple of points on who would handle the economy best, and that's a general economic opinion, because on the specific opinions, Kamala has already surpassed Donald on some of them. For example, taxes, middle-class taxes. Kamala's like 5 points ahead of Donald. Donald's got a problem. He is falling in these polls. Now, I never thought that you needed to see it in the polls anyway, because I hear the people. I watch these programs. I know what everybody is saying. And before you get all carried away over the fact that I watch MSNBC, which is truly what I watch a lot of, but I watch the news, ABC, CBS, NBC, the national news, and people are speaking out in huge numbers against Donald, and especially Republicans. And that's probably the most important part of all of this. Donald's not even going to retain the Republican Party. So don't count on anything but a surprise in the opposite direction of what Donald keeps talking about. You know, if you think that Donald has a chance to win something here, listen to what he's saying about California. I mean, you can turn that on tonight. This man is out here saying that he is going to win California. Everybody knows that's impossible. I don't know why he even says it. Maybe he says it so that we'll say it. That could be. Okay, here's Michael. That market is now being manipulated to make it look like Trump is killing it. Well, that's what I said. Very few large wagers on Trump can shift that market. Well, that's exactly right, Michael. And he's got I say friends. I shouldn't say friends. He doesn't have a friend. He's got acquaintances who would like to take advantage of him if they could, on the possibility that maybe he could be a president of the United States again. But it's not going to happen. And I'll tell you, Michael, I don't even think that Donald can win in Arizona. And I'm sure you probably agree with me. But, you know, I know that Michael's in Arizona. But I have to say, well, here, I'll tell you what I have to say. Hang on one second. Watch this. Leslie, I'm going to let you on, but I'm going to have to give me 5 seconds while I fix this. And then you can come on. Okay, so now I forgot he's off of work because I'm so late tonight. But I have to fix the Bluetooth, which I'm going to do. So let's see. Isn't that Rodecaster? Yeah, there you go. Okay, here we go. Rodecaster Pro 2 connected for calls and audio. Okay. So now when Leslie calls, he'll be on the air. So that's good. So I got Leslie. And by the way, the phone number out here is 314-471-1968. 314-471-1968. You can call in and talk to me. And I believe in a minute, you may be also, well, here it goes. You can also talk to Les.
No.
So there you are, Les.
Yeah.
You're on the air.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I don't know that Michael would do this, but I know Michael's listening. And that would be so nice if Michael would call in too. But of course, sure. Michael might be at work. So
okay.
Yeah. But we can get another call in here. But anyway, go ahead. I can get more than one on the air at the same time.
Okay.
But I did vote this afternoon, Les.
Yep. So here's the thing.
Sure.
I mean, the reason that Trump is saying that he's going to win California, so you don't know why he's saying that, right?
It's because he's a moron.
Simple.
He's a moron.
No, I'm saying why. What's his reasoning? Think simple. What would the reason be?
Well,
don't complicate it.
No, there's no reason.
Okay. No, you should be saying what's the reason, not there's no
Well,
reason.
go ahead. You tell me what you think.
Well, I know he's saying it, maybe another reason too, but he's saying it because he thinks if he says something like that, all of these people that just listen to whatever he says and believe whatever he says will go along, and he'll just, it's kind of like a boat that has a wake behind it that things get sucked in. He feels that people will get sucked into him saying that and believing it and building more and more support just by saying things that aren't true.
Well, see, it's actually the opposite.
Okay, what's the opposite?
If people thought that he could actually win California, all his people would say, well, if he could win California, I'm just going to stay home and not vote.
No. He's also telling him go out and vote.
Well,
everyone's
so what?
Saying go out and vote, huh?
Well, doesn't mean they would listen. If they thought he was winning California,
No. That they think if they go along with what he's saying, go ahead and vote. And believe me, we're all going to win California. If you just go out and vote.
Okay,
And so they believe his lies. It's that simple, Mark.
they do believe his lies, but they don't believe this
Yeah.
one. They don't believe this one.
Well, but if he says enough of them, he's going to garner some stupid support, that he'll build on.
The problem is you believe in his superpowers, and I'm telling you, I'm telling you, he has nothing.
All of these years.
No, not all these years.
He shouldn't even be running for president.
Well, of course, that's
he
true.
He has half the country voting for him. So
no, he does not. No, he does not.
You're going to go, no, it's not exactly half the country. That's just what we say.
No, I'm just quoting the polls today.
As close as it is. That's what I mean.
Kamala has a +5 favorability, and Donald has a -18. I'm telling you, there's no way that it's going to be close with that difference.
I just heard this recently, and it's true. There are people that could vote for him for their own selfish reasons because they, think that, if they have a business, they won't have to pay as high a taxes or whatever, and they're only thinking of themselves.
Okay, those people are very limited.
Yeah.
Very limited.
You say very limited. There's a lot of people that are only going to think of themselves, not the fact that he could destroy the country.
No, how many billionaires do you think there are?
Not enough. Billionaires. How many millionaires are there?
The millionaires have to pay taxes, not the billionaires. Listen, hold on for a second because I got to sell some stuff. Don't go away.
Go on.
And we'll see if Michael can make it. And by the way, last thing here. Well, let me see. Oh, okay, Michael.
What are you on so late for?
I'll tell you later because I was voting. Okay. And Michael says he can't call, so he's probably at work, and I understand. Yeah. So no, that's understandable. But look, Greg says, I dare you to watch Fox for one night.
I watch it. I watch it. No, often
he believes that you do. He doesn't believe I do. And you know what? I don't. And I won't. What a waste of time.
Okay, then you
I know what they're saying.
No, you can't just say that.
I went to college. I can read.
You went to college.
I know what they're saying. Okay.
You've got to come into the real world.
Okay, hang on, and we'll come back to the real world in a minute. So the first thing, let me say that it's really late tonight, 6:20, and it's a really good time to go to Wendy's. Very good time. And the only reason I haven't, already gotten off the air and maybe I could go to Wendy's is because I voted and it took a while. So that's all. I was out in Northwest Plaza in St. Louis County voting. But anyway, Wendy's is great. And they have, of course, wings and smoked meat and hamburgers and cheeseburgers and patty melts with lots of onions, great salads. They've got the best drinks you're ever going to come across. And that's the truth. The iced tea is the best iced tea I've ever had. And I've heard other drinks there are good too, but the iced tea is just excellent. And then, of course, they've got the baby back ribs and the onion rings. And you put it all together. It's Wendy's, and it's excellent. It's at 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road. And also in Defiance, where they have the same great food, $29.99 South Highway 94. The food is the same. It's all great, excellent environment. I mean, you'll just love it. Ben and his wife have done it again. Excellent, excellent restaurant. And it is Wendy's. Now, Jules on Hampton, 4506 Hampton. And if you've got some jewelry that you want to sell or have them look at over there. They will do everything for you. And I promise you, Al is such a good person and just a lot of fun to go visit. I have spent really hours with him, not at the jewelry store, but over at Medi's restaurant, Telena's. He's great. Al is a fun guy, and there's Al and his son AJ, and they buy and sell coins and jewelry. They help you design jewelry, and then of course they fix watches. So you never know. You may have a watch that needs to be fixed. Well, they can do that for you and do a great job at Jewels on Hampton. Now, if you go looking for a suit, well, you're going to find a good one at the St. Louis Suit Company in Clayton. Now, they've been there for 30 years, and all you got to do is look at what I'm wearing now. Just another one of my great suits from the St. Louis Suit Company. I have suits I haven't even worn yet. I just buy suits there. It's just really nice and very, very low prices. And then of course comes the overcoats, because I know it's been warm, but tomorrow's Wednesday. They say the low temperature is going to be dropping, and you need an overcoat. Have you got one, Leslie? I guess. Do you have an overcoat?
Yes, I have an overcoat.
I'm smart. I'm surprised you've got one. Anyway, okay. What are you laughing at? Looking in the mirror?
Because why would you be surprised I have one? Because, I'm not you, and so I shouldn't have one because you have one?
Because you didn't go to college. Anyway, okay.
Right.
So listen, St. Louis Suit Company in Clayton, they're the best. And, if you're getting married, they're really excellent when it comes to wedding attire. So you definitely want to check the St. Louis Suit Company. They've been there for 30 years, probably be there 30 more. They are really good. Great, great clothing at the St. Louis Suit Company. And finally, Telena's in Creve Coeur. And Telena's is, right off of 141 and Olive, right next to the Deerbergs. And I can tell you right now that there's no better Italian food anywhere than Telena's. Leave it to a guy from Iran to make the best Italian food on the planet. And that's, of course, my friend Mehdi. He's at Telena's Pastaria. Really great food. And they've been there for 40 years. So that's no accident. Okay, Les, what's your story?
Okay. So here, Elon Musk, is that illegal for him to offer all that money for people to, sign a petition?
Probably,
but
he thinks that maybe he can get by with it because Donald could be president and save him. But the other side is when Donald, I was explaining, I always say that Donald's the only thing he's going to be president is president of the Prisoners Association. But the other thing I've considered is that there's an office that he might be in, and that would be the warden's office. Okay. So go ahead, Les.
So I mean, do you
spit it out?
Do you think if he became president that he could actually get Musk off?
Oh, sure. Oh, if he's president, he could do anything.
There you go. Thank you. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
But he's not going to be anything.
But you said he doesn't have superpowers, but yet he really does if he can get away with that, all this stuff that normally a president wouldn't be able to get someone off for.
And in fact,
you said, if he became president, he could.
I was talking to your brother on the way down here, and he is, also on this crazy superpower kick. And the problem is the man's got to have some votes first, Les.
Some votes.
Some votes.
Some votes.
Some votes.
Well, how come this brother you're talking about agrees with me and says absolutely that Trump has a chance to win?
Because neither one of you went to college. Really? A college education might have made all the difference. Maybe.
That's, Mark, first of all, that's not true. But second of all, you're wrong.
Yeah, right. Or
Basically
the other thing
thing.
is there may be some family genetics involved here that I don't know about.
So anyway, yeah, Trump has a chance for sure. And I don't know what you're going to say about it if he does win.
Well, I'll tell you, when he loses, as I've been explaining for months, what are you going to say? You're going to say, oh, I'm glad.
Easy.
You're going to say, I'm glad.
I'm realistic. I'm not crazy. I'm not saying that Kamala can't win. I'm saying she can win, and I'm saying maybe she wouldn't win. I'm saying I don't know. It's very close. It's very close. So what would I say?
Well, that's what everybody's saying.
What would I say if she won? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, if she wins, what are you going to say? Yeah. What are you going to say? What are you going to say if she doesn't win by a half a point? What are you going to say if she wins by 10 points?
Anything is possible. I really don't know. I mean, I don't know that the polls are definitely 100% right or 70% right. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
instead of watching
so
Fox,
I say I don't know. You say you know that Trump
I do know.
Will not win.
I do know. Let me say this.
Then we're going to see what you're. Yeah.
What if you don't watch Fox tonight?
I watch them all.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch the other stations.
See, you went to college.
Yeah.
Yet you only watch one station.
Well, how much do I need? I read
you should.
I read eight newspapers.
Okay,
eight newspapers and one station.
I'll bet you they're all basically the same opinion as MSNBC.
Yeah, MSNBC thinks this thing is dead even.
I know, and I like MSNBC. Maybe I'm beginning to like them better than CNN. It's about the same. But so my opinion goes along with what they say. I believe what they say is true. But I listen to all the other ones. You only listen to one thing, whether it's in the paper or on TV. So you have, a very narrow point of view.
Well, no.
That's
not where I get my point of view. I get my point of view. I'm like Donald. I get it out of my own head. I get it out of my own head. But the difference, the difference is Donald gets it out of his head, but he doesn't read anything except for Hitler speeches.
Yeah. But Mark, you're missing my point because you get it out of your head, which is fine, but your head gets it from MSNBC and the papers that all say the same thing as MSNBC.
No. I get it from the Wall Street Journal. I get it from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Do you read the conservative newspapers? Tell the truth. That pause told me you don't. So you don't know where they're coming from. I'm not saying that they're right. I'm saying you got to hear all of these different, so you know what these people are saying.
No, my pause was only because I can't believe you said it. Do you know those conservative newspapers are such trash? I mean, here.
But you got to know that.
No. I know because I have read the Washington Examiner. And let me tell you something.
Yeah.
You might as well not even call it the newspaper.
Yeah.
Really? You might as well not even call it a newspaper. It is the worst piece of trash that I have ever come across.
I gotcha. I totally understand what you're saying, but what, you read it once? And it's trash, so you don't read it.
No, I've read it more than once, unfortunately, because every time it comes in front of me online, I read it. But I can just tell you this.
Yeah.
It never makes any sense, Les. I mean,
I'm not saying I don't watch Fox and think, oh, they make sense. 99% of the time, I either laugh or I shake my head, but I got to know what they're saying.
Yeah, I can't listen to that. I really
I
can't.
understand.
I can't. And you know, when I hear things, on MSNBC, there are many things that I listen to and I go, well, I don't think that's true. Or for example, I'm no fan, and believe me, it's not that she's terrible, but you know, Joy Reid, I really I can't watch her much, and
there's certain personalities you don't like.
Well, it's a little bit's a personality, and a little bit is that she sort of seems to copy what everybody else is doing. And the other person that does the same thing is all in. You know, that's not so hot. But I'll tell you who has become excellent. Yeah, and that's Jonathan Lemire, who is on at 4:00 in the morning, 4 to 5. And he's on right before Morning Joe. And he is a newspaper reporter turned broadcaster. And I'll tell you this, he has really done a great job. And at the beginning, he was really not good. He really struggled, but he got good. He got good at it, and he really is excellent. You should. I mean, you're laughing because it's 4 in the morning.
No, I'm not laughing.
Because 4 in the morning.
Yeah, 4 in the morning.
But you should turn it on in 4 in the morning. I didn't say every day. Or no.
The only way I'm going to be able to turn it on at 4 in the morning is if I'm sleepwalking.
Well, tape it.
Yeah.
Tape it.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
right. Okay, so what's the guy's name?
Right.
Ari?
Oh, that's right. It's 2024.
24,
right. I'm glad you found out. Okay, good.
I thought my TV only records the Lakers.
Right, exactly. Probably that's true.
So what's the guy's name? Ari? What's his full name? On MSNBC, Ari?
It's my grandson.
No, what's the guy's name?
Oh, that Ari. Different Ari. Oh, okay.
No, I'm not talking about your grandson that's on MSNBC.
Yeah, Ari Melber, who is very
good.
Who's very good. No, he's excellent. And part of why he's so excellent is because he's 314-471-1968 if you can do it, Michael. If you can. He says, what's the phone number? So it's 471-1968, area code 314. Cool. Here we go. I'm going to answer. I missed it, Michael. I'm sorry. I didn't see it. Try again. Crazy. Hang on. Let's see. That was dumb. How did I miss that? Oh, I wasn't looking. Okay. So hang on. Come on, Michael. Come on. Come on. Anyway, Ari Melber is great because he's a lawyer and he really explains the legal issues very well.
That's not why he's great, though, because there's many lawyers that aren't great.
Wait, here it goes. This is Michael. Oh, okay. Merge with less. There we go. Okay, merge. There we go. Michael.
Yes, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Les. Yeah. Good.
This is.
So I just want to add one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was at the store the other day and ran into a next door neighbor, and I'm in Arizona. It's a very Republican neighborhood. I've got my yard just full of candidate signs, and my neighbor, we were just talking, catching up, and I said, "Hey, in a few weeks, I'll take my signs down. Sorry." And she was like, "I'm a Republican, but this election I'm voting Democrat down the whole ticket." And she said she sees the Trump sign that the neighbor across from me put up to counter my Harris sign, and she's like, "I want to just go rip that up." So I think there's a very underestimated count of how many Republicans are truly going to vote Democrat this year.
Yeah,
because they can't stand Trump, and they're not out there vocal.
Yeah, and
there are a lot of them.
And keep in mind, at this very moment, this is the All Cason Network. So I just thought I'd
Well,
point
it's
that
not
out.
the all Cason network, but it's the many Cason
Okay.
network.
Well, listen, before I get in any more trouble, because my producer here, Joe is going to kill me because I kept them here so late. So anyway, Michael, I'm glad to hear from you. I really am. It's such a pleasure. And
good to talk to you. And I enjoy listening to you, except when you have those
the Trumpers. I know.
Trumpers, yeah.
Okay. So again, for Wendy's, for Jules on Hampton, for the St. Louis Suit Company, and for Telena's, I'm Mark Cason. This is Showdown with Les and Michael, all Casons. Good night.